Now, please remember, we've emphasized right at the beginning, the Ten Commandments are not defunct, right? The Lord emphasized them on earth. He quoted them. The apostles were used by God to quote specific commandments in their epistles to the church. So the Ten Commandments is not defunct. Many Christians today believe, or rather live, 9 commandments life. One of the commandments they always say is no longer applicable is the 4th commandment, keeping the Sabbath day. Now, Sabbath day is not simply about keeping the Old Testament Saturday, keeping Sunday. They thought it's just a day, that's all. No, it is set apart that the Christian may live his life close to God, strengthened by God, and give the due worship and praise to Him and live according to His word, right? So please remember that. Now, we continue to commandment number 5. Commandment number 5. What is commandment number 5? Well, let's look at your BBK books. Let's read together. Honor thy father. Are you there? Page 158 in the old book, 170 in the new book. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth, upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth. Now, giveth thee, How do I remember? It is the 5th. Well, I have 5 family members, all right? So that's how I remember. It's about the family. The family. You can think of your own ways of remembering it. Some remember F for family, the 5th commandment for family. However, but remember, the 5th commandment is about honor thy father and mother. Now, what is this commandment about? What is this commandment about? Well, first and foremost, notice God says honor. Honor thy father and thy mother. He uses the word honor, all right? Means give due reverence, give due respect towards father and mother. Now, today, this is one area which the world does not understand or even bother about. Children are disobedient. Children are disrespectful. They don't care about what their parents say. Now, this is a sin that in this day and age, Satan thinks of all sorts of ways to make the world, and especially Christians, to break. Now, honor means you need to look at them as authority. Please remember that. That is the meaning. The whole point of the 5th commandment, dear friends, is not about your father and your mother. And parents, don't look at this commandment and say, yeah, you better honor me, better listen to me, better respect me, have some respect. Well, before you say all those things, God is not putting a commandment in His limited 10 overarching commandment. God is not putting one in there just for you, parents. Please understand that, right? Some parents, they hardly know any commandment, but they only know one, which is the 5th. They use it to threaten their children. You don't do this, God will judge you, that kind of things. First and foremost, understand this commandment is about authority. God put it there to reflect Him. So this commandment, whenever you see it, think of a respect and honor, a reverence given to authorities in your life. Fathers and mothers are chosen by God to put in your lives. You are born into the family not by your choice. And God uses that to teach submission and respect. The God that you cannot see, but you can see your parents. And if you cannot learn to respect your parents, honor them, after all that they've done for you in your life, you will never learn to honor God, whom you don't see, out of sight, out of mind, right? Very often. So Christian, this commandment is put there to make the Christian learn that through my daily lives, I see my parents. They are the authorities that God put over me. I must honor them, and when I honor them, I am honoring God, because God chose these parents for me. I may not like them, because they may be unbelievers who make me do terrible things. Now, honor must be clear. God did not say, obey. Obey thy father and thy mother. He says, honor. Now turn with me to Ephesians, please. Ephesians chapter 6. Please know, the New Testament quotes the Ten Commandments. Please do not say it is not relevant. The children must know. Children of God must know. Chapter 6. Let's read verses 1 and 2, verse 1 together. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Verse 2, honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment with promise. Now here, God quotes this fifth commandment. But here he explains, obey your parents. He did not say honor first, but obey. But notice he said, in the Lord. Obey your parents in the Lord. Honor does not necessarily mean you must obey when they tell you to do something sinful. You do not obey. Remember that. Don't go to church. Don't worship. Don't be so serious about God. Don't love Him with your all. Some Christian parents even tell their children that. Your studies, your job is more important. Your money is more important. Now, when things are inconsistent with the Word of God, you cannot obey because obedience is in the Lord, but you still honor them. God still says in verse 2, honor. He uses the word honor. Meaning to say this, even when you need to disobey them in the Lord, you do it with honor towards them. You're careful how you explain it to them. All right? Don't shout, you stupid old man, this is my God, What do you mean don't worship? He's more important than you. No disrespect. All right? Prayerfully, humbly. That's why the Bible talks about how the child of God, the children in the Old Testament, they are very reverential, all right, to their parents. So know the difference, honor, okay? So if your parents say, I want you after you're married, all right, and you don't have enough time even to serve the Lord properly and all that, I say, I don't care, all right? I want you to spend this amount of time with me. Well, you know that it's beginning to affect things. You have to give up things in order to fulfill that. You still need to honor the Lord first, all right? But know how to honor them, all right? Do your very best in many areas. But you cannot let your parents become greater than God. The moment you misinterpret commandment number 5 as all about parents, and parents interpret it as all about me, you miss the whole point. You will tell your child, I don't care, no, Bible says that you must honor me, So I want you to do this. Now, even at the expense of your walk and your family's walk with the Lord, but God says that, right? Then parents, you misinterpret it. This is to teach them to honor. Instead, the parents should feel, if your child wants to put God first, then you say, finally, I've brought up my child to the point where she understands commandment number 5. It is always about God. The 10 Commandments, every commandment is always about God. Even love thy neighbor is about God. Know that. Now, so when the parents understand that, then you will bring up your child rightly. Don't use this, don't abuse this. Now, children, then what does it mean to you? Be reverential, be careful. Now, many young people today, they despise their parents. They're so stupid, so slow, don't know how to use the handphone. Hiya, so easy, and you don't know. Showed you many times already. What's wrong with you? All right? Or they need to do something. Don't know how to use the internet to view the church YouTube. Don't be like that. That is disrespectful. All right? Patience, loving, reverence, very careful, speaking always with carefulness, knowing that they are the authorities that God put in your lives. Now, they may not be perfect parents. They may not be good parents also. It does not change anything. God did not say, honor your father and mother in the Lord. He says, obey in the Lord, but honor is just full stop. Even they are unbelievers, you still must honor them. Remember that. You cannot obey them outside the Lord, but you can always honor your parents, even they are unbelievers. Respect is always expected. All right, so Now, so if you are a child, or even adults, in fact, I see this more often in adults, very impatient and call their parents' names, the old man, the old lady. These are disrespectful terms. You break the fifth commandment. Honor them, call them by their authoritative names. Dad, mom, father, mother, all right? Now, it means also this. As long as what they ask you to do applies to children or even you're an adult, is not sinful, does not contravene your walk with the Lord, you must honor them by obeying. Now, very often, young people, teenagers, they tell parents, the parents say, don't do this or don't do that. It's not safe. Yeah, why are you so old-fashioned? Everybody does that today. It's fine, and you disobey and you don't listen. Now, you break the fifth commandment because you're simply to honor them. I remember even when I'm 40 over 50 years old, when I visited my dad, and even at that age, fully grown adult, he would still say, when you're in Australia, don't do this, don't do that, or when you're with people, be careful of this, be careful of that. Sometimes I feel that it's not very relevant, but I will still have to say, I remember the fifth commandment. Yes, Dad, all right, and I do it. Not yes, and I don't do it. When you feel like not obeying, whenever you feel like disobeying, remember this commandment means authorities that God set in my life. When I obey them in this thing, that even I myself find that is not very necessary. But it doesn't break any laws of God. It doesn't cause me to walk against God's, it doesn't affect my spiritual walk. It is, I have to admit, actually good for me. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know, but it's good for me. You must honor, you must obey. Even if they're unbelieving parents. Because you remember, when I do this, I'm actually just simply obeying the fifth commandment. That is all. Simply obeying the fifth commandment. That is all. Don't look at them per se, all right? Look at the commandments, the meaning behind the commandments. Yes, Dad. Yes, Mom. And in your heart, I'm doing this unto you, Lord. I'm doing this unto you. All right, so don't grow up thinking that, I don't need to honor them because I'm old already. I've said this many times. Today, movies, Disney movies, they constantly have this theme, all right, about disobedience to authority, disobedience to your parents. I remember a Christian parent posted this video clip about Disney's, I don't know which company, all right? The movie Tangled, all right? About Rapunzel, this long hair one. All right, children, don't get interested, all right? Don't go and try and watch these kind of things. Because now this girl disobeyed the mother, all right? And escaped, and this escaped with this man along this line. And this man, and then she felt very guilty. It's the first time ever she dishonored her parents' commandment. And then this young man said, "Come on, are you serious?" Something like, why are you sad? Everyone does that. Rebellion against parents is part of life. You must experience that. Then she was struggling between two. And then she finally said, "Oh yeah, okay, I've never experienced disobeying my parents, dishonoring them." Now, please know, the world constantly pumps this. Don't leave your children watching this kind of things. These are nothing. No, it's pumped into them. Everything is designed for your child, for you as young person, for adults, to break God's commandments. So it's always about authorities that God set in your life. When your parents say, don't eat so much junk food, don't go out late at night, all these kind of things. Are they evil? No, they are good for me, actually. Will it really happen? Something bad happen? Will it really affect my health? I don't really know, but because God says honor the ones that He put in my life, I will just honor. It is unto God. There's another commandment where God says, submit, obey your own husbands in everything. in the Lord? It's the same thing. Because some wives, they find it very difficult. After they got saved, then they are unbelieving husbands, unreasonable husbands, they find it difficult. But as long as they are husbands, you must submit anything that is not sinful. That is God's order. And why does God add, as unto the Lord, as unto the Lord? It's to help them realize it is difficult, but Lord, because it is your model, I do it to you. The same here. I do it to you, God. Now, there's another thing that I want to remind parents and grandparents. Never, ever, it is an absolutely no-no. Let your child or your grandchild hit you. When they call you names, you must already immediately stop that because they are learning to be disrespectful to authority. Father, mother, all right? But the moment they hit, if you don't do anything, you put in them, it's already in their sinful nature, you put in them, you reinforce in them that it is okay. The moment they hit, that is where they have crossed the line. Now, parents, don't think, it's so cute, it's so funny. And sometimes children, you see, they hit the parents, they pull their hair, and then they laugh, and then the parents also laugh, so cute. And then other people also laugh. No, they are already acting out their behavior of breaking God's commandments. You are put there to train them. They don't know how to be respectful to you. They don't have an attitude in their hearts where I will never, ever say anything that is disrespectful to daddy and mommy. From very young age, it's drilled into them. I will never, ever hit them. Never. It's unthinkable. You better train that into them because you are simply training them about the fifth commandment, not about you. You're training them about the fifth commandment towards God. Because when they grow up, when they learn to respect with great reverence towards authorities that they see, by the time they grow and they get saved, it's already built in them. They will have such high reverence of God. Oh, daddy and mommy, I already look at daddy and mommy this way, and this is God. They automatically will have that kind of reverence. So parents, please know this. This is crucial. For your aim in bringing up godly seed, this is what you're doing. Yes, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very challenging. Now, I remember a parent who said, sometimes I'm so busy, so many things to do. Then a lot of things didn't get done. My husband comes back and says, what? All these things not done yet. Yeah, the child today was so disobedient and did certain things. I cannot let go of that. I must deal with it until the child submits to it. And it took my whole day and energy. Sometimes it's like that. Now, please know, bringing up your child, staying at home is not about making sure the house is clean and things are done and that is all right? It's first and foremost bringing up godly seed. So, certain things we cannot let go because they are learning to break God's commandments. And you, when God says, honor your father and mother, parents, understand this. You are not there to make them obey you. You are there to teach them to obey God's commandment and obey God. Once they get that into their mind, now then you have successfully implemented your plan to bring up godly seed. All right? Understand that this commandment is not about you. This commandment is about God. And children, this commandment is not about daddy and mommy. This commandment is about God. Now, and the other thing is this. Teach them to greet you. When they get up in the morning, teach them to greet you. Even when I was an unbeliever, even the unbelieving parents understand that. When you come down from your bedroom, straight away you're expected to greet morning, dad, morning, mom, morning, sis. Right? Teach them to greet. They don't want to greet, you train them because it is built in them. I don't want to because it means I am submitting to you. Even from a young age, they know that. I don't want to do that. When you are able to train them, then they begin to learn respect. Same for adults. However old your parents are, when you see them, hi dad, hi mom, good morning dad, good morning mom. When you text them, the same thing, morning dad, morning mom. before you say anything. Now, these are all building into you honor. This is not legalistic. This is a natural outward behavior that comes, but it comes from training. You know, in the military, I've said this many times. When I first joined, when I was first drafted in, we all have to go through it. And I walked past an officer when I was a recruit. Well, I just, hi. I did not understand, I must salute. I did not understand, I must use specific terms. I just kept having to do push-up, down 10, down 10. I didn't know what was wrong until finally I understood certain gestures, certain actions. Now, why? Later on, when I had to train trainees, then I understood. Now, it is all about respect and honor to authorities, to a rank. That is all. It's not about me. It is about what the government has put on the person above you as rank, and therefore you honor. Because in war, during war, there is no time to why. Why do you want me to do that? In war, it's life and death. Whatever is given, you have so much reverence and respect for the authority, you just do it without thinking. Now that is what God is building in this whole commandment, that it will come in your heart, so much reverence. Because you're used to reverencing authorities that you see, that when you read God's word, God says, do this. You don't think anymore. God says it, that is it, I will do it. That is the amount of reverence you have for God. This commandment is about that, all right? It's not about threatening your children. It's not about, well, I have to do this because God asked me to. But they're lousy parents. It's all about training yourself. Signs of honor. Why do I keep emphasizing? All right, teach your children to greet you. It's because of that. That is all. Now, but is it the end? Is it the end? Now, honor thy father and mother. Who are father and mother? Who? Now, the Hebrew people, they use this term often referring to simply authorities. Simply authorities. Now, if actually you have time, let's turn page 335 in your BBK books, page 335. I hope it's the same in the new book. I didn't take it down. 335. Question 124. Now, the Westminster writers, they have biblical passages that they quote. Right? Question 124. Who are meant by father and mother in the fifth commandment? By father and mother in the fifth commandment are meant not only natural parents, but all superiors in age and gifts, and especially such as by God's ordinance are over us in place of authority, whether in the family, in the church, or commonwealth. Now, when the Bible uses the word father, it simply means authority or originator of things. That is it. Why is Christ called Father? But he's not the Father, right? The Hebrews use it as simply meaning authority, supremacy, the originator of things. That is why the everlasting Father, one of Christ's name is called the everlasting Father. Is Christ the Father in the Trinity? No. But the term is used to mean that. Authority, superior. So, now when you remember the fifth commandment, it's not also just about parents. We studied 1 Peter in great detail. The first thing that Peter said, obey the authorities in Rome. He is actually simply quoting the fifth commandment. Obey authorities. That is it. Now that is why it's tied to the fact that even in Ephesians, that it mayest bear well with thee and thou mayest live long on the earth. Why? Now, when people disobey or dishonor governments, commonwealth, you won't live well or long on earth. There'll be anarchy. There'll be rebellion in the land. All sorts of chaos. Why do you think there is so great youth crimes that we are suffering in Australia today? It all starts from breaking the fifth commandment from young. Today it's constantly, the young are the next generation. Well, they are going to grow up to be leaders and all that kind of things. Well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, we don't know. But there's so much placement of, they need to be respected. Of course they need to be respected, but they're respected the wrong way. They're taught not to obey authorities. Of course there are bad authorities. Now, as long as it's not sinful, we are taught. Even the Commonwealth. And God makes it very clear. It is God who put authorities in the land, whether they are good or evil. God sovereignly put them there for the ruling, for the judgment of the unrighteous. All right? They wield the sword. So, when you think about this, if you don't learn respecting authority in the home, you will grow up to be a rebellious person in society, in your workplace. It is like that, all right? Then there is the church. The family. So anyone that is superior to you in the family, your older brother and sisters, is the same. As long as they are, there must be that respect, all right? So please learn that. So young ones that are here, you must understand the fifth commandment is not just about daddy and mommy, it's about superiors. Means your teachers in school, your principal, means your older siblings. That is how you must treat them. Greet them properly, all right? Don't hit them and bully them because you're bigger in size. It's about that. Now then, of course, there is the church. The church, God repeatedly says, and we learned on Friday night, right? The elders which rule over you is appointed by God. You think elders like to rule? It's the most unpleasant job. It's the most unpleasant job because people do not like to obey the fifth commandment. You incur the displeasure of people. But we have to do it because God says, when I call you, when I place you there, that is your duty. And that is the duty to teach them that, because if not, they will not. Or rather, they will break the fifth commandment, and eventually their attitude towards me will be one of, well, I do what I feel like doing, God. You know, you can't command me. You must love me, and that is it. That is how children are today. Daddy and mommy, you're supposed to love me, not discipline me, not change me, not tell me what to do. You exist to love me. That is the attitude today, and that is why the fifth commandment has been broken again and again by Christian young people in the home. It is a sin. Likewise for the church, all right? As I was saying halfway, the church. So, as long as it is not sinful, as long as it is not causing you to sin against God, obey, all right? Support. Because ultimately, God uses them to lead the church. You may not like certain things at home, but they are your parents, so you honor. And parents, adults, you expect that of your child. You must expect that of yourself when God puts authorities over you as well. The government, the church. So as we grow up to be adults, as we grow up to be elderlies, we tend to feel that, well, you know, why must I do it this way in the church? I'm just going to disobey. They say this, whatever, but in the back, I'm going to do what I want to do. So please understand, the fifth commandment is not about you. It's always about authorities that God put in your life. Whatever age you may be, whatever age, if it is what God has put as authority, has set as direction, you don't just say, oh, okay, yes, but in the back, do something else. You get angry at your child when they do that. God get angry at you when you do that as well. All right? So all these things, with that you may live long on the earth, in the land. Why? Because when you grow up and you realize, well, you know, I do what I want in church. Why must I follow the directions? Then you may live long in the land. The church will grow into chaos. You will spread that disobedience. More people will do what you do. So it starts secretly behind. Just do it this way. Just do whatever I want to do. Say what I want to say. Break the directions. Break the plan. You will spread it. The next person, actually it's not that important to follow, right? You break, and then soon will you live long in the land? No, the church will be destroyed by you. So it is unique. This command is unique where God says it's the first commandment with promise. With promise. So you must sit up and know, children, this is one commandment. You want blessings in your life. Means a life that is peaceful, a life that you will grow up to be obedient child of God. You want that? You want to live long in the land, means continue to be useful to God. This is the commandment. Same for adults, same for elderly, same for men, same for women, the same. Why do churches have so much problems? Because of the fifth commandment being broken. All right? So don't look at it as just one dimension. Parents, grandparents in the family, that is all. All right, so I hope you understand this commandment properly. Of course, there's much more to be said, but I want to set the picture right for us. Not caring, last year I was saying, not caring for your parents when they're old. It is a sin. Today, it is like that. The moment you grow up, break away. Don't even contact the parents anymore. So common in other countries. Don't even know where they are living. Don't even know whether they're sick or not. Don't care. It's not meant to be that way. All right? Okay, so I hope that you remember that parents, those of you who have children, you want to bring them up as godly seed, you must understand this commandment well. Now, this commandment goes two ways before I move to the next. My point, by now, I hope you get it. It goes two ways. Because immediately, look at Ephesians chapter 6. Immediately after God quoted the fifth commandment, then he said, "And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." Now, please notice that. So this commandment is not just to your child. This commandment is not just to the congregation. This commandment is also to the authorities. So parents, don't use this to press your child down and abuse them. Very good. God says that as long as it's not sinful, they must do. The moment you say, well, pour me a cup of water, of course you should do that, all right? Actually, that's a good training. You remember when I was young, I was taking tuition, all right, in a house, in a home, and this lady, she took a few children and was teaching us mathematics. Every time the father comes home, the own child will leave the table, go and pour a glass of milk, take slippers, and bring it to the table and put it there and wait for the dad to come in and then greet the father. Then he comes back to join the tuition. I was thinking that was amazing, all right? Even when young, I saw that and said, wow, this is a good principle. This is a good principle. I went home and tried to do that, pour water for my dad. Now, when we see all these things, parents, don't say it's one way. God immediately says, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. Meet authorities in life. Why is it that many people hate the government and disobey the government? Because there are wicked people there that do wicked things. Same for the home. There are wicked parents. So parents, don't use this for your own abuse. You are supposed to make sure that they will reverence you because you do the right thing. And please note, he says, bring them up in a nurture and admonition of the Lord, not of you, of the father, of the mother, of the Lord. You want them to obey you because you are helping them to obey God, not obey me. That is it. So parents, use this commandment correctly. Understand your grave responsibility in the fifth commandment. Don't keep quoting it to your children, and that's it. Don't keep quoting to those that are under you at work, in church, and that's it. There must be always the remembering in the Lord. This is for the fifth commandment is for the Lord. It's to point them to God, help them to obey God better. That's it. It is not even for their good. It's for them to obey God. Okay? Now, the next one. Quickly, commandment number 6, all right? We only have time for one last one, commandment number 6 for this week. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. Now, I remember it this way, right? I don't know in other countries, but where I come from, you know the meaning of this? You know what's that? It means you stand straight, then you die, right? Then you fall down and die. You bend over and you curl over and you die. What's that? So this looks like number 6 to me, right? 6, right? Does it look like number 6? That's how I remember it. Okay, 6. Thou shalt not kill. Well, we said, Pastor, you can move on. We don't commit murder. Don't worry about this. Well, now we are told very clearly, turn to Matthew chapter 5. Jesus Christ himself expounds commandment number 6. Matthew Now let's read Matthew chapter 5, verses 20 to 23, reading. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of the hell fire. That's enough, all right, to verse 22. Now, here God says the definition of murder, of kill. It is simply anger, hatred, unforgiveness in your heart. It is that. How do you know unforgiveness? Look at verse 23 and 24, right? Now, if you remember there is something between you and your brother that is not resolved, you go settle that first before you come and worship me. You make sure you repent of the sixth commandment before you come and worship me. Worship me with clean hands and pure hearts. So, anger without the cause means it is unbiblical anger. So there is anger, right? We are angry against those that distort God's word, but it's a holy anger. God says, be angry and sin not. It's always about the honor of God, the fifth commandment. How can you dishonor God? By saying his word has errors. How can you dishonor God by saying the 10 commandments are wrong? We have holy anger. We speak with zeal. It is wrong, these people. All right? That is holy anger. But without a cause, personal. It's not the cause of God, personal, that's all. And shall call him Raca, thou fool, all means, this term literally means moron, idiot, stupid. Those are terms that we use all the time without thinking. But God says this is in danger of hellfire. It is referring to the specific commandment, which he quoted, commandment number 6. So Christ, the 10 commandments giver, explains it to us. So don't think it is not about going out to murder people, but even the world understands. What is the definition of first-degree murder? What is it? Not manslaughter, murder. Premeditated intent. Then they define it as murder, right? So even the world understands it begins in the heart. And that is exactly what God says. That is what God meant. Even the unbelievers understand that. So young ones, you go to school. I hate this boy. I hate this girl. I hate this teacher. Well, you have broken commandment number 6. Same person at work. I can't stand this boss. Wish he dropped dead with a heart attack. Someone says the boss actually said that about another man, all right, who came into the department and took over, and she thought she would be promoted, something like that. And this person said, among the talk, I wish he'd die of he's so old and be my boss. I wish he'd die of a heart attack soon. That kind of things. Well, you may not say it, but it may be in your heart. It follows commandment number 5 for a simple reason. There must always be honor towards authorities. When there is none, it leads to commandment number 6. Hate your parents. Children, do you hate your parents? Hate your siblings, all right? Hate authorities. Hate the church pastor for preaching against your sin. That kind of things. So, remember, this is what is in our heart. Do you have an unforgiving spirit? Every Sunday we pray, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against it. We say that, please mean that. In your heart, if there's anyone that you're holding grudges against and you will not, God says what? Go settle it, then you worship me. So you better learn that principle. In fact, after the Lord's Prayer, there's only one thing that God spent a lot of time elaborating, and that is this. If you don't forgive, then you are not forgiven. What else? Revengeful spirit. I'm waiting for the opportunity to get back at him or her. Now the opportunity is here. Why already began in your heart? Hatred. It already began in your heart. Then when the things happen, you do it. Revengeful spirit, unforgiving spirit, anger over personal offenses. Okay? So please remember that. Stop calling this kind of names. Can you imagine you break 5 and 6 together, call your parents names? Terrible. God will judge. Now, before I forget about commandment number 5, Proverbs, don't have to turn there, Proverbs 30 verse 17, God talks about, well, the ravens will pluck out the eyes of those that look disdainfully at the parents. Children, if you do this, all right, look, I don't know how to do this very well, maybe a parent say something, then you may say, okay. Can you see? That kind of thing, as they move. God is talking about that. It's to pluck out your eyes because of that despiseful spirit. Now, don't just do that. It's about parents. No, remember, God uses these words, father and mother, as authorities. The same for the government, the same for the schools, the same for your workplace, and especially, definitely, the church. Because you will disrupt the church. All right? Now, come back to this. Yeah, so despiteful spirit, revengeful spirit in your heart, that is what it is. Now, a few things I won't say, then I really have to end. One is this. Now, is it wrong? Is capital punishment wrong? But thou shalt not kill, right? Now, this is talking about murder, all right? Intent. God already explained it. Is capital punishment murder? God has implemented capital punishment, all right? But today we are under the civil law, right? We are not under the ceremonial religious law. In those days, yes, life for life. It is a biblical principle. Capital punishment is actually a fulfillment of commandment number 6. It is protection of life. Thou shalt not kill. The principle is protection of life. Now, a wicked person who continues to kill must be killed because it is to protect the innocent. To not have capital punishment is hatred for life. How many of these people go on killing and killing? And those families who used to say capital punishment is evil, when that happens to their family, they come out publicly and say, I wish this person was put down. I was wrong. This would not happen to my innocent child, my innocent spouse, my innocent whatever. If this person was put down, it's love for life. All right? So, now the next one is this. Please know that abortion is murder. God in His scriptures is very clear. The moment there is a pulse in the conception, it is life already. It is murder. It's killing. All right? IVF is wrong because they will produce many lives. And then they will just pick the best one and they flush the rest of the lives down a drain. So you must understand all this. It's murder. It's breaking the 6th commandment. Satan will think of the best way. You get what you want, right? But I will make you commit multiple murders at one go through IVF. So, Christian, you must understand all this principle and not do that which is sinful before the Lord. It is murder. They're all life. Let us turn to God in prayer. What do we have here? Top 5 reasons why church dropouts, what church dropouts say, why they stop attending church. Now, please remember 66% of, well, I take the American view, they are the most readily available results. They stop attending church at least a year after turning 18. So from